Okay, so dear students, good afternoon to all of you, those who are present with me today. Dear students, before I begin the Bond of Love, the part two lecture, I'd like to tell you that I have given the writing task also this time. Okay, uh, in the last week of November test. So you please note this change. Okay, see, I have included a factual description. Okay, factual description. uh, what is this? Let me tell you first. In the writing task I have given you a factual description. So what is a factual description? Let me tell you. Factual description refers to describing in a paragraph an incident that has happened recently. Okay, the incidence that is fact based is called factual. So when you are asked to write factual description, it means it can be a paragraph on annual day celebration, it could be a paragraph on Republic Day or Independence Day celebration, it could be paragraph on investiture ceremony celebration, or it could be any kind of celebration that is held in your school. Okay, that is what is called factual description about a fact. Not only celebration, it could be anything. Suppose it is a road accident of which you are a witness, so it can also be a factual description. Factual description means you've got to write a paragraph on an incident which took place, okay, which is real, which has took place, which is factual in nature. Factual means fact based. Okay, so I have given you a writing task this time in your November test, and the topic of this writing task is factual description. Okay, it could be about anything that we are facing. Okay, it could be about your opinion on a particular topic that you are familiar with. Understood? So as I mentioned some of the examples, it could be these are the factual things. Like now COVID-19 is happening, so COVID-19 can also be factual, a description. Okay, you can write something about COVID-19 also. You can write something about the online mode of teaching learning that is going on. That also is a factual description. That will come under factual description. Why? Because it's happening. Okay, so whatever is happening or whatever has happened recently is something what is called factual description. Okay, so you've got to write a paragraph on that. So if you keep writing at least one page on a regular basis, then your writing skill will improve. You shall be able to write anything very fluently over a month, over a course of 6 months. Okay, so you've got to practice the writing skill on a regular basis. Even if your teacher does not give you any task on writing test or writing skill, you can practice on your own. Okay, you can practice at least one page on your notebook. You can write down one page on your notebook. Nowadays so many things are available. You can write on a blog also. You can open a blog and you can write your anything that you like. Okay, it's not necessarily about studies, it can be about fashion, it can be something about sports, it can be something about politics, it could be something about gadgets, it could be something about technology, it could be something about computers. Whatever interests you, whatever topic interests you is something that you need to write on a regular basis for at least one page. Okay, at least one page write up should be there on the topic that interests you on a regular basis, so that your writing skill gets a boost up. Okay, which is very important, which is very very important, dear students. Therefore, in the English language, in Hindi language, in whatever language subject you are learning, you must practice writing. Remember the two things you need to improve: one is speaking skill, one is writing skill. Okay, so speaking skill, you can improve by making podcast, by making by doing making a recording of whatever you are writing. You just take a piece of paper, you whatever, suppose fashion interests you, so, or gadget interests you, or technology interests you, so write a one page write up on gadget or computers or whatever interests you, and from that one page you just read out and record what you are reading. Then that can also help you improve your pronunciation, your intonation, diction part, because whenever you record something on your phone from a piece of paper, that will certainly help you to sort of improve your pronunciation as well as intonation part, the diction part. I mean to say, intonation means rising and falling of your tone, which is very important. So that will come only if you do recording, if you make podcasts on a regular basis. So if you want to improve your spoken skill, you need to make a podcast. Nowadays podcast is very much popular in the United States, in the UK, and in India it is just catching up. Okay, it's just catching up. So it's the right time for each one of you to start a podcast on the topic that matters or interests you. Okay, this is how you can improve your spoken English, you can improve your pronunciation, you can improve your fluency, you can improve your diction. Okay, and when it comes to improving your writing skill, as I told you, you write at least 2 days or 3 days in a week. One page, just one page you write down on anything that interests you. As I told you, it could be about politics, it could be about fashion, it could be about gadgets, it could be about technology, anything. It could be about different kinds of diseases that you like to make a research on, and it can be about medical or health issues. Okay, it could be about remaining fit and fine. So it could be anything, but it should be written on a piece of paper, just in 100 words. You write at least 2-3 days in a week. Get it checked by your parents, or sometimes you can send me also, I can check at my leisure time. And this is how you can improve your writing skill. So considering this, I have given you one test, of course, in writing skill, one topic in writing skill in your upcoming November test. But I thought of giving you some tips as to how to improve your writing and speaking skill. That is why I have spoken about this in greater detail. So now let's move on to our topic, that is the bond of love, part 2. Let us finish this today. So bond of love. Okay, so dear students, Bruno has come home. Bruno has done something mischievous. He has eaten the you know something like poison like substance, for which he is having some problem now. So let's find out what happens here. So let's begin. From here I'll start. A case of poisoning, Taimbeer, barium carbonate, what to do? Okay. Out came his medical books and a feverish reference to index again. What poison did you say? Sir, barium carbonate. Ah, yes, barium salts of barium carbonate. Symptoms: paralysis, treatment, injections of, like he's trying to see from a book what happens when poison is taken. Okay, barium carbonate is taken. Just a minute, sir, I'll bring my syringe and the medicine. Then the veterinary doctor will give injection and also administer some medicine to Bruno so that he recovers from the food poison. A dash back to the car. Bruno still floundering about on his stumps, but clearly weakening rapidly, some vomiting, heavy breathing with heaving flanks and gaping mouth. Okay, so these are some of the terms you can learn: heavy breathing, then heaving flanks, then gaping mouth. These are some of the terms you can learn, some of the phrases you can learn, so that you can improve your and suppose, dear students, some of the words with definition we cannot improve. Okay, so what you need to do, dear students, suppose we get a word called flank. So type it on Google image. If you type it on Google image, you shall be able to understand it faster, because they will show you the picture of this. Okay, so you can see back part of our body. Okay, flank pain. Flank is the back side of our body. Okay, here an animal, you see, it is the flank. See, let me show you. See, this is the flank. Okay, this is the flank part. See here, flank. So this is flank. So whenever you want to look up for a new word, instead of looking it up in Google, the definition part of it, just go to Google image, type the word, and you shall find the visual definition of the word, the new word that you are looking up. So that in that way you can understand it faster. Okay, so heaving flanks and gaping mouth. Okay, gaping mouth means he's keeping his mouth open. Hold him, everybody. In goes the hypodermic. Bruno squeals because syringe, hypodermic syringe. Okay, needle is being pushed on his body. 10 cc of the antidote enters his system without a drop being wasted. 10 minutes later, condition unchanged. Same condition. Another 10 cc injected. 10 minutes later, breathing less stertorous. Okay, stertorous. Stertorous breathing means noisy breathing is called stertorous breathing. Okay, breathing. It is a medical term. Stertorous breathing means noisy breathing, as in snoring. Okay, so now again after the second injection, the breathing is less stertorous. Bruno can move his arms and legs a little, although he cannot stand yet. 30 minutes later, Bruno gets up and has a great feat. He looks at us disdainfully, as much as to say, "What's barium carbonate to a big black bear like me? What's barium carbonate to a big black bear like me?" Bruno is still eating. He looks at us disdainfully, as much as to say, "What a barium carbonate to a big black bear like me." Bruno is still eating. Okay. Another time he found nearly 1 gallon of old engine oil, which I had drained from the sump of the stewed baker. Stewed baker means an old American car, and was keeping as a weapon against the inroads of termites. Okay, inroads means attack. Inroads of termites means attack of termites. In case the termites attacks, he has kept something gallon of old engine oil. Okay. Uh, so this is figurative writing, dear students. Inroads of termites means from the attack of the termites. I'm not able to do it properly here. So you can underline like this. Okay, you can underline like this. He promptly drank the lot, but it had no ill effects whatever. Okay, it had no ill effect whatever. The months rolled on, and Bruno had grown many times the size he was when he came. He had equaled the Alsatians in height and had even outgrown Alsatian dogs, the breed of dog. Okay, but was just as sweet, just as mischievous, just as playful, and he was very fond of us all. Above all, he loved my wife, and she loved him too. She had changed his name from Bruno to Baba, a Hindustani word signifying small boy, and he could do a few tricks too. At the command Baba wrestle or Baba box, he vigorously tackled anyone who came forward for a rough and tumble. Okay, give me him a stick and say, "Baba, hold gun," and he pointed the stick at you. Ask him, "Baba, where's baby?" And he immediately produced and cradled affectionately a stump of wood which he had carefully concealed in his straw bed. But because of the tenant's children, poor Bruno or Baba had to be kept chained most of the time. Okay, because it's a wild bear, so we never know, okay, how it behaves sometimes. Therefore, moreover, children are also there. Okay, therefore, poor Bruno had to be chained. Okay, uh, most of the time. Then my son, the narrator's son, and I advised my wife, and friends advised her too, to give Baba to the zoo at Mysore. He was getting too big to keep at home. After some weeks of such advice, she at last consented. She means his wife. His wife consented to send Bruno at the zoo because Bruno has become too big now to be kept at home. Hastily, and before she could change her mind, a letter was written to the curator of the zoo. Did he want a tame bear for his collection? He replied, yes. The zoo sent a cage from Mysore in a lorry, a distance of 87 miles, and Baba was packed off. Okay? And Baba was packed off. After some weeks of such advice, she at last consented. Hastily, and before she could change her mind, a letter was written to the curator of the zoo. Did he want a tame bear for his collection? He replied, yes. The zoo sent a cage from Mysore in a lorry, a distance of 87 miles, and Baba was packed off for the zoo for Mysore. Okay, Mysore Zoo. We all missed him greatly, but in a sense we were relieved. My wife was inconsolable. Inconsolable means she cannot be consoled. She is becoming restless because she used to love Bruno very much. She kept and fretted, wept and fretted. She became angry also. For the first few days, she would not eat a thing. Then she wrote a number of letters to the curator of the zoo. How was Baba? Back came the replies. Well, but fretting, he refuses food too. But says he refuses food in the zoo. After that, friends visiting Mysore were begged to make a point of going to the zoo and seeing how Baba was getting along. Okay. They reported that he was well but looked very thin and sad. All the friends who went there to visit Mysore, his maybe neighbors and all, so they used to give information. All the keepers at the zoo said he was fretting. He became angry. He is not feeling good because all these days he was at home and now he have limited his freedom. For 3 months, I managed to restrain my wife from visiting Mysore. For 3 months, I managed to restrain. For 3 months, I managed to restrain my wife from visiting Mysore. For first 3 months, the narrator did not allow his wife to visit Mysore. Then she said one day, I must see Baba. Either you take me by car or I will go myself by bus or train. So I took her by car. Friends had conjectured that the bear would not recognize her. I had thought so too, but while she was yet some years from his cage, Baba saw her and recognized her. He howled with happiness. Baba could see the narrator's wife, so he immediately identified her and he howled with happiness. She ran up to him. She ran up to him, patted him through the bars, and he stood on his head in delight. In delight means in happiness. Okay, in delight means in happiness. So, dear students, when you are reading a story, you should also be careful about the spelling, making a note of the spelling. You should also note down some of the important beautiful sentences because see, these stories are the best sources for you to improve your language also. Besides learning what is happening in the story, besides the subject matter, besides the plot of the story, besides the content of the story, you should also look for the language items, and these are your language items. Because if you start writing, as I advised you, at least one page every 2 days or 3 days, In that case, what will happen, dear students? You require more of phrases, you require more of words, you require more of new words. So stories will supply you. Stories are the raw materials for you. Stories are the raw materials for you, from where you can pick up new words, new phrases, even new sentence structures also, which you can add on your in your write up and make your write up appear more beautiful, more attractive. Okay, so that is why, see, you might have seen I'm trying to underline some of the words like inroads of termites. See, I'm not able to do it. That is why I cannot in some of the lines, but in some of the sentences I'm able to do it. Inroads of termites. Inroads means from the attack of termite. From the attack of termite. Okay. So likewise, there are many words. He howled with happiness, in delight. So these are some of the phrases. You please underline, write down on a separate notebook. Like it is, this notebook is not an English notebook. Of course, you make a diary where you can enter some new words, some new phrases with meaning. Okay, with sentences. Sentence is very important, dear students. Okay, because if you simply write down the words and phrases in a diary, then it will not serve your purpose. So you have to know how to use these words and phrases. Therefore, it's important that you write in sentences. Just write in sentences, and whenever the word will come in the sentences, that particular part you underline and write down the meaning from the dictionary. That is better. Okay, enter on your diary the sentence itself. Don't enter just the words or phrases. Sentence itself. If you enter the sentence, if you write down the sentence itself on a diary, in that case the word will also come. Okay, so you can underline these words and then you can write down the meaning. Understood? So this is how you can improve your language, and that will reflect on your writing also. For the next 3 hours, she would not leave the cage. She gave him tea, lemonade, cakes, ice cream, and whatnot. Then closing time came and we had to leave. My wife cried bitterly. Baba cried bitterly. Even the hardened curator and the keepers felt depressed. As for me, I had reconciled myself to what I knew was going to happen next. Oh, please, sir, she asked the curator, may I have my Baba back? Hesitantly, he answered, Madam, he belongs to the zoo and is government property now. I cannot give away government property. But if my boss, the superintendent at Bangalore, agrees, certainly you may have him back. There followed the return journey to Bangalore and a visit to the superintendent's bungalow. A tearful pleading. Baba and I are both fretting for each other. Will you please give him back to me? He was a kind-hearted man and consented. Means he gave. The superintendent gave consent. He agreed. Not only that, but he wrote to the curator, telling him to lend us a cage for transporting the bear to Bangalore. Back we went to Mysore again, armed with the superintendent's letter. Baba was driven into a small cage and hoisted on top of the car. The cage was tied securely and a slow and careful return journey to Bangalore was accomplished. Okay, so they came back to Bangalore, dear students. They came back to Bangalore. Okay, so can anyone text me? Do you have any class at the moment? At this moment, do you have any class? If you have any class, I should stop immediately, or otherwise I shall continue with one more paragraph. So can you please text me? Confirm me with the text if you have any class now. Dear students, how many of you are listening and watching me? Please say yes. Okay, then let me stop here. Let me stop here, dear students. Okay. Okay. So after 10 minutes we have our next class. 10 minutes, na? Then in 2 minutes let me finish, na? Let me finish in just 2 minutes. I need for this paragraph. Okay, then I shall dismiss the class. Okay, just wait for 2 minutes, dear students. Okay, so we can see here. Back we went to Mysore again, armed with the superintendent's letter. Baba was driven into a small cage. Ho gaya. Okay, Bangalore tak Baba ko leke aage juu se. Okay, they got the permission. Once home, a squad of coolies were engaged for special work in our compound. An island was made for Baba. An island was made for Baba. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide and was surrounded by a dry pit or moat 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. A wooden box that once housed fowls was brought and put on the island for Baba to sleep in at night. Straw was placed inside to keep him warm and his baby. The gnarled stump, along with the gun, the piece of bamboo, both of which had been sentimentally preserved since he had been sent away to the zoo, were put back for him to play with. So all the arrangements were made for his home, for his stay. Okay, in this paragraph we came to know. Then, in a few days, the coolies hoisted the cage onto the island, and Baba was released. In a few days, coolies hoisted the cage. Hoisted means raised by means of ropes or pulleys. Okay, hoisted the cage onto the island, and Baba was released. Okay, from the cage. He was delighted because he got the freedom. Now you will be able to see, like you might have seen in a forest or a jungle, tiger is there. Likewise, an artificial island was made for Baba for to roam around without being confined into a cage. So that is why he appears to be very much glad. He pointed his gun and cradled his baby. My wife spent hours sitting on a chair there while he sat on her lap. He was 15 months old and pretty heavy too. He has grown up to 15 months now. The way my wife reaches the island and leaves it is interesting. I have tied a rope to the overhanging branch of a mango tree with a loop at its end. Putting one foot in the loop, she kicks off with another to bridge the 6 foot gap that constitutes the width of the surrounding pit. The return journey is made the same day, but who can say now that a sloth bear has no sense of affection, no memory, and no individual characteristics? Okay, even a sloth bear, a wild bear, is also capable of being domesticated by the people, by human beings. So that is what the narrator says here. It was showing memory, good memory, because as soon as it saw the narrator's wife in Mysore zoo, it started fidgeting, or it started drawing attention. Okay, it came out from its place, and it was also crying, so showing all sorts of emotion. So this is what the narrator wanted to highlight in this story. And even though it's a sloth bear, but still, like human beings, they also have sense of affection that they can project to human beings. Okay, and they have individual characteristics also. But one thing is that, like all animals, they remain very much unhappy if they are caged. That is why artificial island was made for Bruno. Okay, and mm, we shall discuss something about this. Okay, in our next class. This last paragraph, once again I will explain you so that you understand it better. Okay, uh, so let me wind up now, dear students, because you've got your class at 12:40. Thank you so much